Dede I have admired for a very, very long time. I think she's an extraordinary woman. She handles everything with real grace and commitment, and she's fiercely protective of the people who are making the stories for her. I just think she's very, very special. She has such a huge amount of anger, and it is very righteous. It's coming from a place where she is justifiably angry. But also that her anger is a protection against something else, which is accepting what has happened to herself, her family, her child, and the women in general, and the position they've been put in, and therefore that would bring sadness. So I think she uses her anger as a way of defending herself. She cannot sit in dealing with what's happened, which is the journey of her character, because she does express those emotions, and she does, in her own way, come to terms with, in a very small way, what's happened, which is a very big thing. Scarface Janz is very traditional, very much stays with the status quo, doesn't want to rock the boat. And I think that Salome feels in that environment, in that situation, with that sort of person, that some sort of trust has been broken here, and faith has been broken, and she's struggling with her faith and what it's meant to her whole life. How can God allow things like this to happen? What does that mean? She's really wrestling with that. And some women's acceptance of what has occurred, I think she finds very difficult to deal with. And I think Scarface Jan accepts her place in that community, and that's something that a lot of the other women really struggle with at that period in time. I think this movie was very sensitively cast. There were no massive egos in that room. Everybody was there because they wanted to make the film. They wanted to work with Sarah. They wanted to tell the story. We all fed off each other and learnt so much from each other, and respected and gave each other space to do what we needed to do. Every day I was like blown away by what I was seeing. I couldn't believe it. So many days I thought I was coming in and doing a scene and I knew exactly what was going to happen, and I would be howling at the end of it, crying. I've never had that experience with anything I've done, ever. And it was tough. There were some really tough, long, hard, brutal, technically difficult days, but we just got through it together. And I don't think I'll ever have an experience like it again. I sort of loved the stripped back, the pared back kind of nature of it. We didn't have any makeup on. And I just found it really freeing, and there was an equality in that space where it wasn't about how we aesthetically looked, which for a lot of the time when you're a female actor, it gets talked about a lot, sometimes to your face, a lot of times behind your back. And so I loved the fact that I didn't really care. I had bigger things, that character had bigger things on her mind and her plate than what she looked like. She would never give herself credit for this, I don't think, that she is the most amazing leader. She leads with kindness and compassion and understanding and collaboration. She listened to absolutely every single person on that set, and if anyone's idea she thought was interesting, she would be like, that's a great idea, let's use that. She was not precious in any way, and I can't tell you how rare that is for a director. It was a very intense experience. I think because I basically, by the end of watching the movie, knew every other person's lines. We all knew each other's lines like the back of our hand. Like, we knew what had happened in that room. And so then to watch it, and it's only a year ago really that we stopped shooting, it felt very, very present and like we were still there. Then when I watched it in Telluride with everybody in the cast, I just cried from beginning to the end. I was so proud of it. I was so proud of everybody in it. I was so proud of those women, and so proud of what Sarah had done. I feel like, having seen it at festivals and hearing the conversations that people have and the conversations that people need to have after seeing it, I feel like it has to be a collective experience. I feel like seeing it in the cinema is really important. Seeing it with a group of people, not just watching it alone, is really important to what the film asks of you at the end of the story, which is, what happens next? Where are these women going next? Where are you going next? What are you going to do? And I haven't seen anything or been in anything like that where I felt that question asked of an audience. And I think that it's really exciting that there's a fable that's told, and at the end of it, it's up to you what you kind of make of it, I think. And Sarah does that so deftly that she just doesn't, she allows the audience to draw their own conclusion. What this film, I think, is so extraordinary about saying is that it's okay to have a different sort of opinion. It's okay to not be on the same side as someone. You can still hear what someone is saying, understand who they are and where they're coming from, and not need to make it about you. Like, it doesn't have to be personal. Like, it's okay that someone else has a different opinion to you. You can still sit in a hayloft, hear their opinion, and you could come out changed at the end.